Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Ryan Benecki here, doing a first impressions, first look, gameplay and all that of Call of Duty Black Ops Declassified for the PlayStation Vita. And basically I wanted to get this out to everybody before I got the final review posted. I still haven't played every aspect of the game to really give you a complete opinion of the game and ultimately give it a final score. But what I can do is show you some of the aspects of the game in a more extended period for a lot of people that really want to know more about the game because they're so curious about Call of Duty on Vita. So right now we're going to take a look at the campaign, and basically there's no real campaign, there's just operations, there's just like these levels you can play and stuff. And right off the bat from playing the game, I can kind of tell it just doesn't feel necessarily like Call of Duty. I'm very aware that it's not made by Call of Duty when I'm playing it, and that's, I think, one of the biggest issues I was going to have with the game and I'm currently having with the game is that it just doesn't feel like it. The first time I started playing the game, it actually had an auto-run feature set on, which I didn't actually know about prior to playing the game and buying the game and stuff like that. And there's an auto-run feature where right when you start moving the stick forward, your guy automatically starts running. And you'd think that would probably come in handy, but it really does not come in handy whatsoever if you're a veteran to Call of Duty. If you love playing Call of Duty games, it feels extremely unnatural. I tried playing with it for maybe an hour or so, and it just was not working, and I turned it off and set it to manual running, which is activated by the bottom D-pad, which is very easy to press from the left stick. So it was actually more natural in that respect, especially if you played Resistance Burning Skies. So that was a lot easier to do. But coming off of even that, another big problem I really had right off the bat with the game is, again, it goes back to how it's played. The character itself doesn't necessarily it feels like the player is moving on ice, basically. All my moves don't feel precise. There were times where I was moving and he would just kind of keep moving. It's hard to explain, really, but adjusting the sensitivity and stuff like that didn't really help at all, and I played like 5 different sensitivity settings, and I still could not get a preferred way of playing it. My guy always felt like he was moving too quickly or moving too slow in some instances, and it just, again, if you're coming from other Call of Duty games, there's a strict learning curve from playing it. Obviously, looking at my gameplay, I'm doing pretty good, and this is actually, I'm playing this on Veteran right now, this specific mission. And Veteran mode is actually quite difficult in this game, but obviously, there's a learning curve. I'm doing pretty well in this specific playthrough. Another problem I had, again, right off the bat, is game is definitely performing a little under par. And not necessarily like frames per second, but more so like there's a lot of instances where like not everything is refined. And what I mean by that is like, there's for instance, there was a time where I was trying to get through a door, and I kept running into like an invisible wall that was within the door. Like there were a couple of inches in between the door that you couldn't necessarily go through, and I kept getting blocked in. And there were a number of times where I was trying to take cover behind a trash can or something like that, and my guy kept like jittering his gun, and he just would not stay still. And it just shows there's I guess there's a lot of invisible walls within the game that they just didn't quite free up to the point where your character can use it for cover and stuff like that. And it really, really annoyed the hell out of me, and I was really starting to get angry with it. But, game points in the game where it started to feel better is when you were in a more open space and you didn't always have to take cover and you didn't always have to go through doors, because in that respect I had, room to move and room to shoot and stuff like that. If you haven't noticed by the gameplay already, the AI is actually pretty predictable. I know what I'm doing at this point. It's trial and error, but I guess that's how most Call of Duties were with stuff like that when you were playing some of the veteran difficulties. Right now we're going to look at hostile mode, and basically this comes from like MW3's Spec Ops kinda, or not Spec Ops. They're what do you call it? The wave hostile mode or whatever. It's the same thing, right? So you're playing it, and there's waves of enemies you can fight against, and as far as I know, you can only do this with yourself. I don't think this is multiplayer. I haven't looked into it. I've only been playing by myself. And basically what it is, yeah. So, wave 1, hostiles incoming. And this is actually fun, because with this, you can't really, you're not really meant to camp and take cover and stuff like that, because the map is more so made for you to be running around, running and gunning, and trying to, defend yourself from the enemies and survive as long as you can. And this mode was a lot funner because the issues that I had in the other modes didn't crop up here. I'm always moving. I have a lot of open space, and it's really challenging. So I actually like this mode a lot, and it was actually really tough. I could not get through it. And if you saw in the menu earlier, the needed amount of kills to get 3 stars in each of them is actually extremely high, and I didn't even get close to it. I think the most kills I got in this mode were like 30 something. Like, to get 3 stars you needed 150 kills, so actually pretty challenging and pretty fun. So this mode was actually I found some enjoyment out of this mode, I guess you can say. But obviously I'm about to finish this wave right here, and once you do, you get a little dropped package, wave 1 completed, and my package is over there. It's a random drop. And another thing is, this is not an extensive mode like the campaign, where it's not like a real story. This isn't also a really real hostile mode. Like, it's pretty bare bones in the way that, you can't buy or upgrade or anything like that. You basically have to grab what they give you. Like, they may give you a sentry gun, they may give you a new gun. You have to pick up what the enemies drop. Big thing right here, multiplayer. We're gonna take a look at that. This is easily gonna be the most important aspect of Call of Duty Vita. People don't necessarily buy these Call of Duty games for their single player. Let's just put it like that. All the stuff's there, but I mean, comparing it to like Black Ops 2, for example, obviously Black Ops 2 is taking a whole different direction for the multiplayer, whereas Call of Duty on Vita is taking a more simple approach to what the old Call of Duties had, whereas you got the kill streaks, the perks, your class system. There's no pick 10 from Black Ops 2. The prestige mode is even down there if you look at that. I think I scrolled to it in a second. Yeah, rank 40, I believe, is your max rank. Obviously, I haven't hit that yet, so I can't confirm, but considering prestige is unlocked at 40, that would make a lot of sense. Not a whole lot of modes, obviously. That screen actually went by pretty quick. There's like team deathmatch, kill confirmed. I can't even think of it off the top of my head. Right now, the map you're looking at is Container, which is basically a redesign of Shipment from Call of Duty 4. Really fun map. One thing I want to point out about multiplayer is, obviously, it's 8 players max, so 4 per team, and that may have been a design choice because maybe the game just wasn't performing with more players, and I certainly could believe that, because there were certain matches where I was playing with a full 8 players, and it was really it just wasn't like keeping up. I don't want to say it was lagging, because it wasn't, but it, like, for a handheld online with 8 players, it just kind of had sort of a jittery effect to it. I didn't capture it in this stage, but there were a couple of matches where it had sort of a jittery effect, and I just couldn't, like, there were times where I couldn't get kills. Maybe it was lag. Maybe that's what, PlayStation Vita lags looks like. I don't know if, that even makes sense to you. But it's not like any kind of lag I've experienced on consoles or PC or anything like that. But, it was pretty weird in that way. But seeing as how there are 8 players on a map like, Container or Nuke House, which is, the redesign of Nuketown, it's good that they have small maps because there are smaller players. But some of the bigger maps definitely felt empty, and it made for pretty boring gameplay. I was mostly just hunting for 2-3 guys at a time at one point on a really large map, and it didn't really make for exciting gameplay. On maps like Container, though, and Nuke House, it was a lot of fun, actually. And again, it goes back to the whole thing where I was talking about how you're not in close quarters. I'm not taking cover as much. I'm in an open environment, so it's a little more fun because I'm not dealing with the bugs that the single player had, or the icy effect of my character when he's running around the ground. So, in that way, multiplayer is also good, but I guess that's not really a great way to put it if you're thinking, oh, it's, you're only going to have fun on these maps, But, everyone has favorite maps, but it goes back to the design of the game. It's like, there's only 8 players, so you need smaller maps for it to really be fun, unless you like that sort of hunt effective multiplayer games. It really all beckons to your opinion, and that basically boils down to every video game in that case. But that's pretty much all I have to say about the game right now. The review will be up probably tomorrow night. There isn't much content in the game, actually. Obviously, I'm already halfway through the game, like the main campaign missions, and there's only 5 hostile missions you can play. And online is obviously, you can only play so much of it before you start to understand every map and stuff. So I'm already pretty close to a review, and I can give you a final score soon. But this is what I have to say about the game so far. And what it boils down to is it's kind of what I expected. It's pretty buggy. There are areas of the game that are fun, and there are areas of the game that are definitely not fun and pretty damn bad. So right off the bat, from the first impressions, you may want to wait a little bit on this purchase. But otherwise, thanks for watching, and stay tuned for the full review.